Hey everybody, it's Lon Seibin on a rainy day, but we're going to be unboxing something that should bring some light to my home theater. This is the Apple TV 4K, and this is the new version of the Apple TV that supports HDR and 4K televisions. We're going to be doing two things with this on the main channel, which you can find at lon.tv. The first thing we're going to look at is whether or not you need this versus the 1080p version, so we'll look at some of the differences between the two. And then in a second video, we're going to look at cord cutting with the Apple TV. We haven't really looked at some of the cord cutting solutions on this device recently, so we're going to be doing an update on that and seeing how it all works on there. So this is the main unit. I bought this the other day when I was in New York City, and we're going to unwrap the plastic here, nice and shiny. Now the processor in this one is the same that's on the iPad Pro. So this is a little faster than the prior generation, primarily to support the 4K output that this one can do. So we'll see how it performs and also, again, check out that 4K capability. What it lacks on the back here is a USB Type-C port. That was a developer feature that allowed some folks to sideload applications on. This one lacks that, so I'm guessing there's got to be another way to do that. You got your HDMI output here, your power goes in here, there's no power brick, and it has gigabit Ethernet now versus 100 megabit Ethernet before. Clearly they're planning for the future here for 4K support. It also looks like this one has a little more venting at the bottom. I do believe it is fanless, but there is some airflow here, so when it's sitting on your desk, the vents will be able to let some natural airflow go through there. So that is the main unit. It feels a little heavier than the last one, so there's probably a little bit more of a heat sink in there also. This is the remote, and the only difference on the remote this year is that they added a little white area around the menu key. I don't think it lights up, but it is probably more visible in the dark, and there's a bit of a thing here where you can feel the difference between this button, because this white area is raised a little bit, versus that one. And I've often pushed the wrong button, so the remote otherwise feels the same, but it's nice to see a little difference in the buttons there. In this portion here, let's see what we got. We have the power cable. That's what you use to plug it into the wall. And that's it, I think. There's just some manuals and stuff in here. No HDMI cable. You got to bring your own on this one. It is Apple after all. And then here you've got a lightning cable for charging the remote. And I've had a lot of Apple stuff come through lately, so I've got a lot of extra cables now, which is very good. But you do have to charge that remote. I found the battery life on the remotes to last quite a long time. In fact, I don't use my Apple TV all that much, and that remote always has a charge, but you'll probably want to plug it in for a little bit when you first get it up and running. So stay tuned. We're going to get this thing set up. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is do a quick cut here and show you how to set it up, because the setup process on this thing, especially if you already have a iPhone, is very, very fast. So let's take a look and see how that works. All right, so we've got the Apple TV booted up here. We're going to hit the button here on the remote to pair it up. That was pretty simple. And we're next going to pick the country we're in. So let me do that real quick. All right, so we're doing that. We're going to maybe select some Siri here, and we're going to set this up with a device, and I've got my iPhone out right here, so let's do that real quick. So unlock your phone. Okay, so I'll unlock my phone here. I've got the camera still loaded up. Connect to a Wi-Fi network, and now you can see it's already detecting that I've got an Apple TV on the network. I'm going to tap on Setup here. It's going to talk to the Apple TV. I've got to type in this code here on my phone, and this will get my Apple TV all ready to go with all of my account information, so I don't have to go through the horrible process of typing in passwords with this remote here. So let's let that finish up here. It's setting up the iCloud right now. And there we go. So I just have to decide whether or not I need to require a password. I can say maybe require after 15 minutes if I decide to buy something on the device. I've got kids here, so I want to be careful about that. I can also sign into my TV provider, which I'm going to do right now, because I have a few apps that can use my cable subscription. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll come back and see what's next. All right, that cable thing was faster than I thought, because I already have the password on my phone. It tossed that information over to the Apple TV. We've also got this thing here, one home screen for every Apple TV. So I do have another one, so it'll sync up my two home screens there. We'll turn on to location services, because who cares? And I'll hit automatically download some of those screensavers. We'll send the analytics to Apple here. I'm just being very generous with my information here today. So there's all the terms and conditions, and we're going to try HDR now, because this is an HDR 4K television. So I'm going to turn that on real quick, and my TV should hopefully switch modes. I'll verify this now that we're waiting for it to come back up here. Now I have a lower end Samsung television. This is not looking too good here. I do have a lower end Samsung television, so the HDR support might be a little flaky on it here, and it looks like it's having some trouble getting that 4K signal going, so I might have to come back and figure out what's going on there. Well, it looks like I'm not going to get HDR working. I tried a bunch of different cables to see maybe if I had a slower cable or something, and I am not getting anywhere on this lower end Samsung television. So it looks like one of the features I'm not really going to be able to test all that well, just because I just can't get it into that 4K mode here. Let's switch over to some of the other things here. Maybe we can try HDR at 30 Hertz, see if we can maybe squeak that out. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so it looks like I can get HDR working at 30 Hertz, but not 60 Hertz, and I think that is what this television supports. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of HDR on this one, but because my TV is a little limited in what it can support from an HDR standpoint, I might jump around between HDR and non-HDR. So in any event, I'm going to do a full review of this coming up very shortly on the main channel, so stay tuned. We've got a lot to come on this one.
This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters, including gold level supporters, the Black Eyed and Blues Music Hour podcast, Chris Allegretta, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/S.